Hello everybody and welcome to another video. I would like to start off by saying thank you all so much for the support I got on the last video. I got so many comments from people saying how much they enjoyed it, and I really appreciate that. What I also got is a lot of comments from people saying they would like to see more long-form videos, which is why I'm here today. So today, I'm going to be making some custom wooden railway engines. So, one of the first videos I made on this channel was a short making this custom wooden railway Peter Sam. And this has got to be one of my favorite custom models I've ever made. I think he turned out looking really accurate, and I love all the detail he has on him. So I figured now would be a good time to make more of the narrow gauge characters. So today, I'm going to be making custom models of Skarloey and also Duncan. So with that out of the way, we can get started. So what I'm going to be doing first is using some blue masking tape to cover up the wheels so I don't accidentally paint them when I'm using the spray paint. Okay, so I got that done for Duncan, so now I'm going to do the same thing for Skarloey. Okay, so there is Skarloey taped up. So now I can take these outside and paint them with the primer. I almost just forgot, I have to cover up the smoke box also so that that doesn't get sprayed either. So I'll do that now. Okay, so there's that for Skarloey. So now I'll just do the same thing with Duncan. So there we go. Now we have both of them fully taped up. Now we can actually go and paint. Here we are outside to paint. Hopefully I can do this with one hand. I'm just gonna spray them with this chalkboard Rust-Oleum gray primer. And that should give us a good base to paint the red on. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna take these back inside and let them dry off before we paint the red. Okay, we're back inside now. I've left these to sit for an hour so the paint can dry. So now we can just take off the tape and begin the red paint. So you'll notice the wheels did not get completely protected. They got a little bit of paint on them, which I should have probably sprayed from a more top-down angle to fix that, but I think it's not that big of a deal. I'll just scratch off the white paint before we do the red. So now I got all the paint off the wheels. So now what I'm gonna do is paint the bodies using this red paint, which is the same one that I used for Peter Sam. Okay, so there's the first coat on Skarloey. Okay, and there's the first coat on Duncan. Now, you might notice that I got a lot of paint on the face and also on the wheels as well. And I'll show you why that is when I'm done with the painting. Okay, so I just finished with the painting, and here they are. So, Skarloey only took about 3 coats, but Duncan, I had to do a bit more, just because he's yellow and he's brighter. And I mentioned earlier that I was purposely leaving paint on the smoke boxes, and there's a good reason for that, which is that since the smoke boxes are plastic, the paint doesn't stick to them as well. So if I just take my knife here, I can kind of just scrape off all the extra paint, and it'll leave us with a perfect line between the smoke box and the boiler, and then it's a lot easier than having to mask that area off. Okay, so there's that completed. You can see the smoke boxes and the wheels no longer have any red paint on them. And with that, we're ready to do the lining. So I have a sheet here of lining strips. So I'm just going to put these on each of the models and then cut them to the right length once I have them in place. And I'm going to start with Skarloey because his lining is exactly the same as Peter Sam, so it should be pretty easy. Okay, so there's Skarloey's lining finished. So now I need to do Duncan. And Duncan is interesting because his lining is actually different in the TV show than how it is in the Railway series. So in the Railway series, he only has 2 lines on the boiler and the squares on the side of the coal bunker. However, in the TV show, the lining on the coal bunkers extends upwards towards the top of the cab, and this square is added on the back. So to be accurate, I'm going to be sticking with the Railway series design for the lining. Okay, so I just finished doing the lining. Looks really great. I had to cut out a second piece for Duncan's little curved bit that he has, but it looks really good on both of them. So I cut out these yellow stickers, which I'm going to use for the windows, and I also cut out a little strip to make Skarloey's gold funnel ring that he has. So what I like to do for the windows is apply them and then use this black marker to just kind of fill in the inside of it. And then you can see it looks like the actual window. So for Duncan, he has custom windows, which are this weird oval shape, which is how he has them in the books and in the show. Okay, so there's the windows done. You can see we have windows on the front and back now. And I tried to do Skarloey's funnel bit in gold, but the vinyl didn't want to stick to the top of the funnel, so I had to leave it off. I printed out these stickers, which I'm going to use for the nameplates and the numbers. And the nameplates are actually based on the TV series design, which I did because in the Railway series, all the narrow gauge characters have their names written on the side in yellow letters, which would have been too small for the machine to cut. So I think this looks just as good. So I'm gonna apply these and we'll be pretty much done. Okay, so there's the decals for Skarloey done. And there's Duncan done also. So now the only thing we have to do is I have to draw on the doors and paint the roofs black and we'll be all done. And there we go. There's our completed Railway series, Skarloey and Duncan. I think these two turned out looking really great. I love how accurate they are to the books. I would love to do the rest of the narrow gauge engines at some point, so maybe that will be a future video. But with that all said, if you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!